welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
We are here, man.
Dead by Dawn? What was that? Did you hear that?
It was pretty good. I heard that.
Dead by Dawn?
Evil Dead, man. It's a thing. It's one of my favorite things, actually.
We have another one to talk about. Can you believe it? It's been pretty much a decade, I think, since that last one came out, so they really space them out. But Evil Dead Rise has risen.
We're here to talk about it. Did we do a bonus episode on Evil Deads? I feel like we did, didn't we?
We sure did. Yeah. It's been years. It's been quite literally years since we did it. I think it was one of our earlier bonus episodes, like single-digit bonus episodes, if I had to guess.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we would have watched all of the four predecessors to this film. I'm going to guess like 2018, 2019, roughly around there. I think pre-pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, I think we had a pretty good conversation, so I don't know if that was your fun fact. I think you maybe have something else lined up about
I do have
Evil
a fun
Dead
fact.
Rise.
I was in the weeds.
I will just say that's our personal fun fact of the episode is, hey, if you want more Evil Dead beyond what we're going to talk about in this episode, go check out our bonus episode, which became a regular episode, talking about all things Evil Dead. Evil Dead 1, 2, Army of Darkness, and then Evil Dead 2013, I think is the release year for that one. So definitely check that out. But anyway, what is your fun fact?
So my fun fact, it's a little bit of Evil Dead lore.
Okay.
For the uninitiated. There is, so the book, or not the book, the Evil Dead follows these guys that go to the cabin, blah, 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 and they find this Book of the Dead, right?
Right.
It's like
Necronomicon Ex Mortis.
Exactly, yes. And the second Evil Dead, which is Evil Dead, I think it's Evil Dead 2. Anyways, at the end of that, he gets sent back in time, spoiler, into the third book, or third movie, which is Army of Darkness. And in Army of Darkness, there are 3 Necronomicons.
Okay.
All right. The first, so the director of this particular film wanted to, he goes on record and says that there are, in fact, 3 Necronomicons. There's the one present in this movie, which has its own unique name. It looks different. It's a unique book with different qualities.
Naturam Demonto or something, I think.
Something like that along those lines.
What they refer to it within this film. Yeah.
And then you have the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, which is the...
Is that the OG?
That's the OG.
Bruce Campbell, Ash version of the Necronomicon?
That's right. And then you have the Necronomicon that was present in, and I don't have the article in front of me. I'm going off of a couple weeks or a week ago. I read the article. And I think the last or the third Necronomicon is the one that he used in Army of Darkness. That currently doesn't have a present location. The present location for that book is not found yet. No, that's not true. It's the 2013 one.
Oh, yes, that would make sense, right? Because Ash would have the same one through all of his adventures. Then there would be a second one for the
2013 people.
The 2013 movie centered around not Ash, and then yet again happening here with a not Ash, protagonist and set of characters. You get a third one.
That's right. Yeah. So that's my fun little fact that there is a universe reason for different style books and the idea is all of these movies, even though 2013 is sort of a reboot and this is also sort of a reboot, is that they're all in the same continuity, and that's how you make that possible. Is there are 3 versions of the book. That's why they look different. That's why they've popped up in maybe different places across time. And this one is in a very specific location where maybe it wouldn't make sense for it to have been accessible in the movie that came out and maybe took place 10 years ago, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a cool lore explanation. It's a cool franchise. It's got some cool shit in it. Obviously it's about demonic possession and shit going haywire and having some fun with that concept. But there's an undercurrent to all of it of, hey, we've thought about this.
there's something to this beyond just let's just make a horror movie or a gore fest or whatever the case may be with any of these movies. So yeah, pretty cool.
We'll get into it a little deeper.
We will.
There's unique qualities to the Evil Dead that are independent to the franchise, which makes it a lot of fun. So I'm excited to talk about it with you.
Well, I am as well. I have one small fun fact to serve up as a follow-up, and it's about the initial release plan for this film, actually. So actually, the day we're recording, Max has taken over HBO Max, so it's relevant to that.
It indeed has.
It's been a disaster of a launch. I don't think the app's worked all day, and big surprise. Feels like every big launch like
have
this
you had issues with
ends
it?
Up being a big shit show. I haven't used it myself. I've just heard that it's been a bit of a shitty rollout thus far. Well, one thing that is kind of annoying is basically the way that I'm subscribed to it is through Anna's AT&T phone plan, because you get it free through AT&T.
Oh.
We just assumed they would fuck us over and put us on the ad plan, at Max Ad Light Free or whatever it's called. The Natty Light version of it. I think to reference our coverage of it from a couple episodes ago. But basically, it puts us on the mid-tier, which is good, but there's no way to upgrade to the 4K plan. So we couldn't even pay like $5 a month to upgrade and pay the difference. So we're just kind of frozen out of 4K stuff because, I'll just suck it up. Like, fuck you. If you don't want me to give you that difference in money, then that's your fault. That's how I feel about it. So anyway, I don't think there's anything on there that I need to watch in 4K right away anyway. So it's not imminently a problem. But
when you pull up, you haven't explored the app yet, right?
I haven't. No, I haven't played around with it all myself. So
I logged in today because the big thing for me is my account is listed as Legacy,
which I think probably puts you at the regular mid tier where you get 1080p, but no 4K. But no ads.
I haven't clicked the actual video. I clicked into the video profile or whatever, the main thing for Shazam, and that's that one up. Yep. It lists UHD, it lists Dolby Atmos, it lists another audio format, and then HDR. Like, it has all the,
as if it would play in those.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could queue it up, and then if it's like, this kind of looks kind of shit, then it's not in 4K. Maybe it's just telling you it's available in 4K. If you
you're on naughty ice.
Even better when you play it. It's like, you want to pay $4? It's $4 a month. We'll get you this in 4K. You want to do it? Come on, you should do it. 30-second ad, just like, think about it. Come on.
If I had a 30-second ad, fuck you. I'm definitely doing it. That's all it takes is ads.
This is the difference. It shows you it does the we watch a movie and Dolby Vision. It has the side by side. This was black. Now this is black. It does that where this is 4K and this is rinky-dink
and you're watching
1080p.
A Viagra commercial on the right side and the actual movie played on the left side.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, now we're really in the weeds. But anyway, my fun fact was that this film was originally made and designed to be a streaming-only release on what was then HBO Max and what is now Max, to tie all that together.
Aren't they glad they didn't do that?
But the decision was made in August of last year to switch it to a theatrical release, and the reason for that switch is because the test screenings were very positive. And additionally, this is kind of when WB was trying to reconfigure plans. I think that this is around the time that Batgirl got axed, or maybe a little after. Blue Beetle was another film similarly that was made ground up for HBO Max, and then they've now switched that to a theatrical release as well. So yeah, you seem to hint that maybe it was a good plan for them to release it in theaters, and so that's something we'll definitely follow up when we talk box office, quality of the film, and stuff in due time. So there you go. Do you want to start this episode on a sad note? The answer has to be yes, because I put it in the script.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, you cannot decline, and it's something we should talk about, but it does suck. We really only have one real piece of news here, and then we've got a few trailers that we'll talk about. But just yesterday, we got sad news that actor Ray Stevenson passed away at age 58. I think very unexpectedly.
Pretty young, man.
No real details on kind of anything that happened. It sounded like he was hospitalized and died in Italy, is where he was. I think he maybe resides there or something. But Yeah, just crazy. 58 is not an age where you think about people just, dying, out of the blue. He's a veteran actor who's a very recognizable actor, been in a lot of things that I'm sure our listeners have seen, but certainly that you and I have seen. He was in the Thor movies as Volstagg, who was kind of the obese, boisterous member of the Warriors 3. He had a big role in the HBO series Rome, 2 seasons of that series, where he was a main character, Titus Polo. He was the Punisher in Punisher Warzone.
Oh yeah! Holy shit!
He provided the voice of a character in Star Wars called Gar Saxon, I believe, I think maybe Rebels.
That's right.
And he will still be in the upcoming Ahsoka TV show playing one of the villains. So that will serve as one of his final roles, it would seem. I don't know what else he has filmed, I guess, recently. So I imagine it'll end up being one of his final roles. He was also in the Vikings TV show. Really just a very extensive film resume. And some pretty good roles, pretty good stuff. He was a good, fun, recognizable actor who, it's just kind of out of the blue, and I think especially seeing him in, Ahsoka most recently, that trailer, he looks fucking cool as shit in that. So it's just, I think it's going to be a little sad to see one of his final performances in that. I'm excited to obviously watch the show. I'm excited to see him in it, but yeah, it's just sucks. Oh, and he played the villain in RRR, which is a film that I still haven't seen, much to my shame. But apparently he's very good in that. Yeah, it sucks. Anytime we talk about any stories of these nature, it sucks. I think that, just stuff like losing Lance Reddick, pretty recently is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
people are like late 50s, 60 years old. It's like you'd like to think you have a few years of life ahead of you at that point. You know what I mean? And obviously you shouldn't take anything for granted. But yeah, it's still a really kind of sad loss at the same time. So rest in peace to Ray Stevenson. I don't know if you want to tack on any of your own thoughts. To you.
So he admittedly he's played a couple of roles that I'm familiar with him in. But I've never been able to. I never placed a face with the actor's name. Until the Ahsoka trailer, and I saw the headlines of him passing away, and I'm like, oh shit, that's the guy from the Ahsoka trailer. And then you click on there, and then you find his resume: Gar Saxon and the guy from Thor, and you realize that he's attached to all these different projects that are near and dear, and so it just kind of makes it suck that much more. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, it sucks to lose someone that's brought some memorable roles to life. Honestly, the one thing, and this is something that Anna and I actually talked about because we took our Europe trip and went to Rome. I was just like, Rome is a cool ass fucking place. I just want to watch like things affiliated with Rome, like ancient Rome or whatever Rome. And so Rome was one of those TV shows I like thought about, and I'm like, I've heard really good things about that show, and then something like this happens, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to take the plunge and see what it's all about. Maybe it's like that's like old school HBO at this point. But I've heard Ray Stevenson, I think, is very, very good and a very memorable character, and the show seems to be pretty cool and just seems like it'd be a good vibe and fitting now. So anyway, yeah.
2005 was the first episode. It is old school.
Yep.
Old school HBOs.
All right. Well, if you're ready to move on, we do have 6 trailers to talk about. That was really our only one headline for the news. We have a lot of trailers that we're still behind on. I tried to curate a collection here that is, I would say, mostly horror-centered. And if it's not horror-centered, it's weird things centered. It's weird shit. We got some weird shit that we'll talk about if it's not outright horror. So let's get into it. Let's get into some of these trailers. Let's start with a new take on Dracula, and The Last Voyage of the Demeter, coming to theaters August 11th. It is, I guess, based off of a chapter in Bram Stoker's novel, which basically it takes place when Dracula, I guess, is aboard this vessel on a voyage of the Demeter across the ocean, so that he can then wreak havoc and stuff like that. Which I feel like we got shades of in the Dracula movie that we talked about on the last bonus episode we did. So we kind of saw a little bit of this. This is like a full filmed version of that, expanded a little bit from the chapter. I don't know. What do you think? Anything about this appeal to you? Does it seem interesting?
Yes, I will say that I think that this looks like an awesome movie. And most of the trailer was really cool. But then it turned into kind of like a shit trailer. And I just wasn't a fan. Like, I don't need world is a vampire in this like super dramatic looking horror.
It's a very on the nose use of music.
Yeah. Man, come on.
It's to the detriment of the trailer. Yes, I think so. Yes.
It's just, I don't know. I do like the voiceovers. I think that's Liam Cunningham. Is that right? Doing the
yeah. Davos Seaworth of that one show, Game of something or another. I can't remember. Yes. I think he's one of the leads in this. Yeah.
I think it looks like a fun movie. Pretty scary. It looks like Dracula's got a really cool like Nosferatu kind of design.
Yeah, I like that. And I like that, he's like a creature more than like just a weird looking Gary Oldman type. I think it's kind of, well, I guess Gary Oldman was like a weird creature looking Gary Oldman type in that movie too, but I like the design. You're right. It does seem very Nosferatu inspired, and he's just a beast, stalking and fucking, he's not fucking anyone. He was fucking in that other
well,
movie,
we don't know. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see. We'll see where they go. But anyways, he's fucking with.
He's a creature of the night.
Yes, creature of the night. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a really cool concept for a movie. I think this could be a really fucking cool movie.
Or it could be real bad.
The trailer had moments, but overall, I'm a little worried that this is not going to live up to what it could be. I think that's probably the most likely scenario. Is it's kind of underwhelming and just like not that good. But I would like for it to be good because it seems like this whole kind of thing set up on a ship. Being stalked by Dracula. Like, I think there's a really cool horror movie, baked, we using those elements. So if they can put it together, I think that it could be something really neat, and I mean, we get fucking 19 Dracula things every year because I think the book is in the public domain. So, I mean, we got Renfield earlier this year. I didn't watch that, to be fair. I think it got okay reviews. Very different. This feels a bit more straight horror in terms of its take.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But I think there's potential here. I'm not sure that it'll realize it, but I think it could be good. I think it could be good. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it. Sounds like we're pretty much on the same page. And yeah, the Smashing Pumpkins bit was just,
yeah. I mean,
just come on. Like that's where your eye roll. You get the eye roll from.
I hope like that it doesn't have like modern music in the like soundtrack of this movie.
Yeah. No. This needs to be an orchestral.
Yeah.
And I drive the mood of it.
Last little bit is I like the idea of having like it's almost like The Thing or something like that. You have like the secluded setting. These people are stuck on this boat with this monster. Yeah. And I think it's pretty cool. So I think it's a really cool premise. I think there's a really good movie here. We'll see what happens because like you said, what happens. It could just be Matt, and if it's just Matt, it's kind of disappointing because it could be cool. So we'll see.
Hey, I think although it is rare, horror movies can be good. They can be good. I think it's hard to make a good horror movie, but it can be done. So I think it's possible here. So we'll see. We'll see what they have. with the last voyage of the Demeter, August 11th. And that brings us to our next trailer, something I have to imagine you're definitely looking forward to, probably steering more on the weird shit kind of the scale in terms of what we have to offer, although not the weirdest, I would argue. We'll get there. Black Mirror is getting a 6th season, and we have an official teaser for it. Black Mirror is back on Netflix in June.
It's pretty out of nowhere, right?
I feel like that's how it always is, because it's the creator is like Charlie Brooker. Like, I feel like he always just like he comes up with ideas, when they come to him. So it's like, I got like 3 ideas, I can make a Black Mirror again. So I think it's like it's not on like a strict like every year or every other year kind of timeline. It's just whenever I fucking feel like it or whenever the inspiration strikes. So yeah, I don't think I realized that even the 6th season was coming. So I guess that's probably to your point. It's 5 episodes that we're getting.
5 this time. Wow.
And
last one was 3.
It's been 4 years since we had the last season of Black Mirror, so it's been a minute for sure. And that one was only 3. So yeah. Good strong cast across the board. It appears. Annie Murphy, Salma Hayek, Michael Cera, Aaron Paul, Josh Hartnett, Zazie Beetz, and I'm sure others that I am forgetting or not mentioning. I don't think we really got a sense of like what any of these the premises are. It's really just selling you on the cast and the visuals and the promise of what Black Mirror can be. So is that enough for you? Are you in?
Yeah, totally. I think it's I think that the series as a whole is a really genre defining kind of thing. It's a really special project. There's some episodes that are Emmy award winning, I think is
yes.
And then there's also episodes that aren't, but
right. It's hit and miss, but even the misses are interesting usually.
Yeah, they're anyways, it's a really, really cool show. This looks like no different. It looks off the wall. It looks zany, and some of it looks a little scary. I mean, there's a lady like grabbing
spooky shit.
Yeah, somebody's head's getting pounded into the glass thing there.
That would be scary if it happened to you. You wouldn't like
absolutely.
that.
Or just fucking watching it if you're over there
seeing
eating
it. Yeah,
food.
that could be startling.
Holy
absolutely.
Shit. Yeah. But all the episodes in Black Mirror, I think, are not all of them, I guess, but the vast majority of them are unsettling.
Right.
And they make you think. And like I said, I think it's a special project that you don't get to see a lot of. So, anyways, I Black Mirror's got a special place in my heart. It's good shit.
Yeah, I am. As probably the last time we talked about Black Mirror, whenever that was, who knows? I'm very behind on it. I watched, I think, all the first season, bits of the second season. I think, and I know they did like a white Christmas thing, and that was, I know I didn't get to that, and I think that was pretty early on. So I'm about a decade behind on Black Mirror, roughly.
It's been that long too, hasn't it?
Yeah, since the first set of episodes debuted, 2011.
Over a decade. My word, we're getting old.
Yeah, so I would like to, give Black Mirror a go. I don't really know why I fell off. I think just it's kind of one of those things. Everything is so episodic that I can leave it in the middle of a season. I didn't feel bad about it, and probably got sucked into something else, and then just never went back, kind of thing. But I definitely would like to give it a go. I'm curious if it's Anna's thing. That always helps, is when we can, work on a show together. Otherwise, I have to carve out time, which means taking the time away from Barry and such. So, yeah. So, I think it looks good. I would like to give it a go. I don't know that I'll give it a go in June necessarily. Maybe that will be reserved for you to offer your take on the catching up sections of future episodes. It's something for you to watch at home in June. At the very least, when you'll be perhaps spending some time home in June. So,
little baby B. Well,
little baby B. He'll be young enough. He doesn't he doesn't understand that this is telling you that technology is bad. He's just going to be sleeping and crying.
Goo goo gaga.
He'll be maybe some vocalizing. We'll see. So any other thoughts on that? Ready to move on?
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Let us do that. So next up we have a teaser trailer for A Haunting in Venice. Now, did you know anything about what this was before you started watching the teaser? I'm just curious.
No, I had no idea.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not entirely true because I saw the trailer on the Evil Dead reel.
Okay.
In front of Evil Dead.
But when you saw that in theaters then?
Yeah. And I seem to remember it being shot in 4:3 and black and white. Is there a 4:3 black and white trailer for this?
Not to my knowledge, but I guess I'm not going to definitively say that there isn't, because I actually don't know. I don't know. That's kind of interesting if so. But I really don't know. I know the version that I sent you was not. A little bit more traditional. I might be thinking of
something else, but
perhaps I'm not sure. But anyway, you did indeed watch this trailer. It seems, and so at some point you learned this is another Hercule Poirot flick. Kenneth Branagh is back, and he's getting spooky this time. It's based off of another Agatha Christie novel. It's been retitled. The original was called Halloween Party. Haunting in Venice is a little bit more cinematic, a little bit more flair, perhaps, for the title. So, what do you think? Are you game for more? I think you watched Death on the Nile. I did not.
And Death on the Nile was, it was kind of an situation. This looks like a, oh man, it's invigorating. Like it breathes new life into Hercule Poirot, and it puts him into a totally different. It puts it into a totally different genre. It feels like, So yeah, I'm all about this. A whodunit in a horror framed kind of thing. It seems wildly creative and different and fun. And well, it's going to be fun. Although this trailer does not look very fun, it looks kind of terrifying a little bit. So,
but in a good way.
In a good way.
Fun in a good horror-y sort of way where, if you end up scared throughout the film, you that's an enjoyable thing. That's a desirable thing, is to actually feel something, during a pseudo horror movie. I don't know if this is necessarily straight horror, but this teaser presents as such. I think, it's very much leaning into horror-y aspects, but also having a murder mystery amidst it, which is fun, which is interesting. Another good cast. Hopefully all of them don't get canceled this time. Like they did the last one. No cannibals to be found, hopefully, and such. But you got Jamie Dornan, Tina Fey, Kelly Riley, and Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh is in this, which is awesome. It's coming to theaters in September 15th. It takes place in Venice. I don't know if you know this, but I actually went to Venice pretty recently. I did not go to... I did not go to an eerie post-World War II Venice, as the YouTube description describes it. But I've been to Venice, so I'm like an expert now, basically. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if this is geographically accurate and whatnot.
2 fun facts for you. I got a Jeopardy question correct yesterday because of our conversation with Anna.
Oh, okay, very good.
And it was like, what is this Venice? What is this Venice island famous? What?
Oh, is it the glass one?
Yeah. Yeah. Long story short, the answer was glass, and I got it right because it was something with Murano. Anyways, second thing is I turned on Max just to make sure everything was working. Haven't tried to watch anything yet, but anyways, Mr. Hammer has a show on HBO. Oh, not HBO, Max. Just Max.
It's called I'm Not a Cannibal, I Promise.
It's called like the House of...
Look, 10 episodes of this, you won't see me eating anyone in this entire season, I promise. Therefore, I'm not a cannibal. Jesus Christ.
House of Hammer or something.
Oh, is it
House of Hammer. It's a 2022 documentary.
I have heard about this. Yeah, it's a documentary, right. But it's like about him, right? Isn't it? It's like not like a thing that he made. I think it's about him.
A shocking Hollywood scandal rips open the Hammer family's perfect facade, from rape allegations against Armie Hammer to years of deceit at the hands of his great-grandfather. The family's darkest secrets finally come to light. Holy shit.
Because he's like, born rich because he's like heir to quite literally, I think, the Arm & Hammer company, like the baking soda and shit.
Is that right?
I think so. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe that's a joke. But he is born. Yeah, I'm looking it up now because now I'm like, wait, shit. Maybe that was just a joke and I bought it. It's grandson of industrialist Armand Hammer. Occidental Petroleum. Oh, he's fucking oil. He's oil rich is what this is.
He's oil rich? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And then his father had several businesses, production company, publishing company. There's a whole bunch of shit. I don't know about the Arm & Hammer bit. Maybe that was just made up, but I don't know. Citation needed. But either way, dude was rich as fuck. And so I think that's kind of what that's getting into, is that whole there's a legacy, the family, name means a lot because it's been around for a while. Anyway, Haunting in Venice. I think it looks good. Maybe I'll give Death on the Nile a go, despite its cast and whatnot, and see if it's intriguing. And maybe I'll be ready to go in September for a Haunting in Venice. So yeah. Any other thoughts? Ready to move on to the next one?
Let's keep it moving. Yeah.
Shall we move on to the weirdest entry? I think, in my estimation. And this is an official teaser, and I would say a true teaser, clocking in at 34 seconds. 34-second fucking teaser. Can you believe that? That's wild. That's TV spot, like territory. But I think it's an effective teaser. It's a movie called Poor Things, the next film from filmmaker Yorgos Lanthimos, who has done in recent years The Favorite, The Lobster, maybe one other thing I feel like that got some recognition, but maybe I didn't see. Those are the two that I have seen for sure.
Never saw The Lobster. I think I saw The Favorite.
Killing of a Sacred Deer, I think, was something.
Yeah, that's recently right. Yeah, as well. With the penguin.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, with Colin Farrell. Yes, he was in The Lobster as well. I was like, wait, is he in both? Yes, it looks like he's in both.
Yeah.
So yeah, Poor Things. It's got a good cast. It does not appear that Colin Farrell is in this, as far as I can tell, but it has Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe, and it's got an incredibly unique visual style. It's a very, very striking looking film for sure. I'm gonna hazard a guess that you liked what this teaser was doing. You're in for this.
It's kind of like surrealist. Like, I guess all of his movies seem to be that way.
But it's like taking like surrealist paintings and bringing that to life in motion almost, or something.
Yeah. It looks. I'm watching the Mark Ruffalo sitting on the couch and like looking over. Hilarious. This is a 30-second TV spot, trailer, teaser, whatever. And it looks like it's full of character, and it's well acted.
It's a memorable teaser, despite its short length.
Yeah, stylistically, it's wild. It kind of reminds me of there's this like point and click adventure game where you play like a robot. It's called Machinarium, and I got vibes of that in this, just with the style, like the buildings and. That sort of thing. So just the artistic direction that this movie is choosing to take is cool. The Frankenstein kind of vibes is cool.
Definitely. Yes. Very, very much it feels like a riff on Frankenstein.
William Dafoe having a scarred as fuck face and just like looking like, looking how he looks cool. Everything about it just kind of extrudes cool. I'm all about it. 100%. I'll be seeing this one for sure.
Yeah. I just like to follow up on the Arm & Hammer thing, because I was like, did I just make that up? Did I get duped?
Did you make it up?
I did not make it up. I think it's been somewhat like misreported that Armie Hammer was like the heir to the Arm & Hammer empire, if you will. However, his grandfather, Armand Hammer, did buy considerable stock in Arm & Hammer, but that's not really how he made his wealth, is what it sounds like. So there is a connection, but it's not like the connection, so to speak. It's just his great-grandfather was independently rich and then was rich enough to just invest in Arm & Hammer, probably because his name was Armand Hammer, would be my guess, but I don't know. I'm not going to fact check that. But either way, there's something there.
There's also checked into his net worth.
It's probably all right.
Well, his net worth according to the first listings on Google, which if you're oil rich, you can probably make this look a little different on Google. Probably have that kind of power. But it says that he went from a net worth of $10 million to $100,000. His net worth is $100,000 right now.
Yeah, still more than me.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't believe it either.
I don't believe it
either.
I think it's fake news.
Good. No.
Anyways.
Underreported for sure. Poor Things, September 8th of 2023. And that's this year, for those of you keeping score at home. So a few months until we get Poor Things. It's described as a surrealist science fiction romantic comedy. Very cool. Based on a novel, apparently, with the same name. So there you go. All right, two more. The next one is a teaser in the same vein, short and sweet, 47 seconds, and it's Five Nights at Freddy's. The official teaser for it, coming from Universal, Blumhouse, an adaptation of the Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess media franchise. I think it started as a game, if I'm not mistaken, and I feel like it's kind of branched out from there. But it's something that I know about and have had absolutely zero experience with myself. Are you in the same boat, or have you dipped into the Five Nights at Freddy's world?
I've never played it personally, but I know about it.
You know about it, right? Yeah. It's recognizable for sure. So there's not the attachment there.
Therefore this trailer looks like shit.
Okay,
this does not look like anything I'd be interested in.
Okay, I mean, it's a horror-y thing. It's coming. This is one of the few fucking horror movies this year that's coming out in October 27th. This is peak Halloween release, it would seem. And it's not only coming to theaters, but it's also coming to streaming the same day on Peacock. So you could watch it at home. Baby B will be a few months old by that point. I don't know if he'll be ready to be spookied and traumatized by these things, even with his still developing brain. But I don't know. So you're not feeling Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm trying to sell you on it. But it doesn't seem like you're taking the bait.
I'm not about it. It just doesn't look like my thing.
All right,
I like Chuck E. Cheese though. Chuck E. Cheese is pretty legit.
Chuck E. Cheese is legit. That's very cool. You can take Baby B there in a few years.
So I've talked about this with people.
Okay.
Baby B will grow up at Chuck E. Cheese. It will be
He's gonna live there.
It will be the Friday night were you good at school.
Did they replace the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese? I feel like I read about and maybe they were contemplating it. I think they got rid of the ball
horror
pit
factor in the tubes.
Probably. What's left? Just arcade games? You can do that at home.
I think so. Yeah.
Whatever. Still cool. There's nostalgia there for sure. Yeah. I think for anyone that is in on the Five Nights at Freddy's thing and it's massively popular, I'm sure there are quite a few. Even if they don't listen to this podcast, that particular nugget wouldn't surprise me. Hey, it just feels like it was a matter of time until they decided to make it into a movie. It is Blumhouse, who have a pretty good track record of making things, and so I don't know. I mean, the idea of these fucking animatronic horror things, I don't know, doing horror-y shit. I mean, there's a way to make that work, So we'll see. This is a true teaser. We don't get enough, other than it just really feels like a promise for fans of the franchise of like, here you go. You know what I mean? So, but October 27th, we'll be getting Five Nights at Freddy's. And like I said, this is where I like, You want horror things in October? Well, then you get Five Nights at Freddy's. If you want horror things any other time of the year, like, say, July 28th, you can watch Haunted Mansion, which is not, strictly speaking, a straight-up horror movie. Clearly a horror comedy, I think, based on the classic Disney ride. But we got an official trailer for it. This is not the first time we've talked about it. I think we got like a teaser. Must have been a teaser a couple months back that we did talk about. I feel like we were pleasantly surprised by it. And I'm curious if you feel like you're in for this, or if this trailer has maybe pushed you in a different direction. Where are you sitting with Haunted Mansion?
It definitely looks less scary than the teaser led us to believe.
Yes. I thought it gave it more of a comedic tone.
Yeah, it gave it a little bit more of a Haunted Mansion kind of vibe.
Which it's Disney, and like it's a Disney ride
totally
kind of movie. Like, not unexpected.
Totally fine.
It would be crazier if Disney was like, this thing is rated R, balls to the wall, horror.
We're leaning into it.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I am...
Yeah. Where you at?
I'd watch it. It's got a great cast. I think I want to watch it based on the cast alone, I
agree. Stellar cast. And it seems like, I feel like we didn't, I guess it's described as an ensemble cast, but it seems like Lakeith Stanfield's playing the lead, or at least the closest approximate to a lead, which I think is awesome. Tiffany Haddish, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Rosario Dawson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jared Leto as the Hatbox Ghost. But he's probably unrecognizable, and that's usually fine. As long as you can't tell it's Jared Leto, it's usually fine. Yeah, I think my issue with the first trailer is kind of the same issue that I have with this one, where it feels like the comedy hasn't totally worked. I thought the end bit dragged on, and then the payoff was worth it. The sketch reveal I thought was actually pretty good, but the actual 30 seconds that preceded it, I was just like, oh, this is kind of drawn out and not that funny. So I do worry that the bits where it's trying to be overtly comedic aren't going to land. But I feel like they've done a really good job of visually capturing like what the ride is like, and taking obviously like full on aspects and locations and stuff from the ride and bringing it to life here. And it also needs to be said, as we probably said the last time, the Eddie Murphy one sucks real shit. And so, like, this one's going to be better than that. I have no doubts about it. And like, that's a pretty low baseline to work from.
You know how many times I watched the Eddie Murphy one? I watched it so many times.
Probably a lot. I'm sure. Don't watch it again. Leave it in the nostalgic part of your brain as is. It will be better that way. I can assure you, having revisited it within the past few years.
Oh, man.
Real bad. I think this one is going to be a solid ride adaptation. I think the ride adaptations are hit or miss. Obviously, we got way too many fucking Pirates movies, as it turned out, in the long run. But I think it could be good. I'm not expecting perfect. I'm expecting pleasant and entertaining, and it feels like it's going to hit the mark. And I think the cast will get it there. I think the visuals will get it there, and the humor might hold it back. But, we're talking like solid 6 out of 10 territory. That's my ballpark for this movie. I think it can
and that's
get there.
Fine. That's great.
That's fine. If it's a totally fine movie, if we want to, take the numbers out of it, get those disgusting numbers out of the conversation. That's kind of where I stand with it. If it can reach that mark, I feel okay about it. That's worth a hopefully sub 2 hour experience in the theaters. You know what I mean? So
sure.
So yeah, July 28th we'll be getting Haunted Mansion. We'll
not too far away.
We'll see how it fares. Yeah, not too far away at all. A couple months. Wouldn't you know it? We are done with the trailers, done with the news, and I don't know about you, but I think it's time to talk Evil Dead Rise.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, before we can talk about that, we need to...
Yeah. You want to talk about the box office? Well, I can tell you a little bit about Evil Dead Rise, and then I can tell you about the box office.
I'm out of order. Apologize about that. Yes.
Follow the script.
I'm so excited.
Come on, man. It's right there. Dead by Dawn. It's still in theaters right now. I think probably losing screens as we speak. Perhaps by the time this episode goes up, it's going to be in fairly limited screens. But fear not. It is also available now on video on demand. So even though we ourselves are late to the party, it's been out in theaters for around a month, if not a little bit longer. You can buy it at home, enjoy it from the comforts of your own home. And we'll talk about whether that's the ideal way to watch it, or maybe it's worth seeing in a theater, if still possible. But you have options now, so there's that. The film is written and directed by Lee Cronin. It stars Lily Sullivan, Alyssa Sutherland, Morgan Davies, Gabrielle Eccles, and Nell Fisher, and it's about the reunion of two estranged sisters, which is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, or as we like to call them,
Demones.
Oh, Demones. You can call them Demones if you want. It's up to you. I don't think anyone does that but you. But you're certainly entitled to do whatever the hell you feel is right. Been a while since you watched any other Evil Deads, apparently.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Can you give me some hockey horns now? I think it might be time for a box office breakdown. I decided. I pivoted. Yeah. I pivoted to the Deadite voice. So yes, to answer the question that was set up in the fun fact section of this podcast, was it a good decision for WB to take this off HBO Max/Max and put it in theaters? Absolutely, 1000% yes. They would have missed out on a good chunk of money had they decided to keep it on the streamers exclusively, because Evil Dead Rise has become the franchise's highest-grossing film of all time, both domestically and worldwide. So, yes, I mentioned it's been in theaters for about a month. I think when it came out, it made $24 million in its opening weekend. I forget what it was up against. I'm not sure. Oh, it got beat out by Mario, because Mario is the box office juggernaut of the year so far.
Right.
But Evil Dead Rise, as you can expect, is not only rated R, but has a lot more limited appeal than something like Mario does. So it had a pretty good first weekend for the type of film that it is, for the franchise. And it's legged its way to about $64 million domestically and $140 million worldwide, which beat out the previous bests of $54 million domestically from the 2013 reboot / sequel, whatever you can call it.
Yeah, whatever you call it.
And then that one made $97 million worldwide. So this is the first franchise, or the first in the franchise, to crack $100 million worldwide. It's made more than that too. So it's still chugging a little bit. I think making a little bit here and there. So it's not totally done with his box office run, but now that it's kind of transitioned to the VOD model, obviously they'll be taking in some money that way as people, or as it loses screens and as people elect to not go outside of the comforts of their own home to watch it and stuff. But all in all, definitely a big box office success, and it's a film that I think was budgeted pretty low. I think maybe $15-20 million budget. In
typical Evil Dead fashion.
Yeah, you don't need $100 million to make an Evil Dead movie. In fact, that almost tempts you into not being creative with how you try to do things. You know what I mean? It's having the limited budget forces you to be creative in your choices sometimes. And I think that the Evil Dead franchise has always been one that's gotten by mostly on practical effects. This is one of the core.
Not penance. What's my word? This is one of the core
tenets.
Tenets. That's my word. It's one of the core tenets of an Evil Dead thing. Low budget.
Yes, definitely. So, I'm going to ask you now, as we get into some non-spoilers for Evil Dead Rise, what'd you think about it? Is it a worthy contender in the Evil Dead franchise that we are both big fans of?
I do. I do think that this movie is a worthy title for the franchise. It's a worthy film to hold the Evil Dead name. Okay. I think that it does an excellent job. It's an excellent use. It uses its money well. I think it's stylish while still doing things that are Evil Dead, Mm-hmm. So it's in the trailers and stuff. So I don't feel like it's any sort of Spoiler. But one thing about the Deadites is the Deadites, or the demons that possess, a particular person or multiple people or what have you, is that they get in your head, right? And they talk to you, and they're saying shitty things, and they're using vulgar, crazy language, and this and that. They're demonic. And in all the Evil Deads, your main protagonist is able to separate themselves from the demon, right? So I think in the 2013 one, they put the demon in the cellar. They throw all the chains and shit over the cellar. And so pretty much all the demon can do is pop its head up and talk shit.
Right.
Right. In this one, they put the mom or the sister in the hallway. They put her away. And then she can only talk shit. And I think that's some of the most entertaining bits in these movies is when how is this demon going to get in their heads? Because now they found a safe space for a little bit. And I always think that's some of the best bits in the Evil Dead. I always enjoy those moments. But and those moments are here in this movie, which is cool. Another thing they do is they have like quick zooms to like a deadly weapon and how it's going to be used. And then they actually use it on the person. You're like, oh no, that's present in here. It's present in all the Evil Dead movies. It's just kind of one of those tenets of Evil Dead. It's part of being part of the franchise. They changed the setting. So it's not in a isolated cabin. It's in an isolated, shitty apartment building, which I would imagine in modern America is probably pretty prevalent. Probably a bunch of pretty shitty, roach motels or whatever, just shitty places about to be condemned. So that's cool. The first, I think, I was about to get in the weeds. There's also a chainsaw present, which is
it's got some franchise signatures for sure.
Exactly, it's cool.
It feels like it belongs.
Yeah, I think that this movie does something different. It's got kids in it. We've never seen kids in Evil Dead. And then, we won't want to. We won't get too far into the weeds.
But there are some elements to this that, even though I think on the whole it feels familiar, it at least tries to be novel in some different ways. And
it is novel in a lot of ways. It takes the franchise into totally new, different directions. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot I can talk about in non-spoilers.
Sure.
But just know that it does take the franchise in new directions and different spots that we haven't seen outside of probably the Evil Dead television show, which I've only watched, I think, the first season of.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, I think it's shot really well. I think that it keeps you on the, like, if you're just talking, like, horror-y things and the feeling of it, it's pretty gross. It's super bloody. It's not really jump scary as much as it is just like sometimes it's hard to watch the screen.
It's more just it's gnarly.
Gnarly is a good way to put it for sure. Yeah. I think the characters are likable, enjoyable, and you kind of like can't look away. Like it's just like you're like I don't want to watch this, but I can't stop watching it.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun, which is it's the biggest tenet with the Evil Dead movies. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think it's fun in the Evil Dead sense, in the sense that it knows where to be playful and have fun with how it uses its characters, the dialogue, that sort of thing. But I think it's also fun in the traditional horror movie sort of sense, where it builds in the right way. The payoffs are good payoffs, and when it's trying to be gnarly, it's effectively gnarly, and like stuff like that. Like it's a fun kind of just romp for 90 minutes, where you get kind of all the touchstones that you'd want, the tenets, if you will, of the Evil Dead franchise, but also just like a good, fun horror movie.
Yeah.
I think it hits that mark. And it's also even more fun. I think you described your viewing experience a little bit on the Europe episode, and you saw it with your friends Haley and Steven, and Haley was squirming the whole fucking time, as I recall, is how you told it.
Yeah, so. she had her, you was sit in a chair normally, too. And she had her knees up to her chest and her both hands covering like, the side of her head. And that was a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch a movie with.
It's the kind of movie that, like, if you're there with either obviously friends, great, but even just like an audience that can get into it, like, I think it enhances the experience a little bit too.
Absolutely, for sure.
Good one. Totally. Hey, if you're watching it at home, video on demand, bring some friends over. Bring some friends that hate horror movies and can't stand the sight of blood. They'll have a hell of a time.
It's good.
Yeah. I agree. All around, I thought it was a good, worthy entry to the Evil Dead franchise. And I think it's a franchise that's pretty consistently good, has managed to jump genres and tones very effectively. And this one, I think, isn't quite as balls to the wall serious as the 2013 movie. Has a little bit more of the playfulness that we got in Evil Dead 2. Less, it's not really quite Army of Darkness level of silliness, really.
No,
it's really just I think it's tonally between your original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, somewhere kind of operating in that middle space there. But I think it does a good job of that. I think the gross out moments are effective. The newness that it brings to the franchise is, I think, enough for the movie to have a reason to exist.
That's right.
Even though I think that it does kind of use the same playbook, I think overall, I think it's fine. Number one, because it's the Evil Dead playbook and it's good for a reason. Number two, because it's been 10 years, and I think if we got a movie like this every year, every two, okay, maybe it gets old, but it's just bringing out the Book of the Dead, people being dummies, and then shit just going sideways. It's entertaining, and the way that it goes about that by doing enough new things makes it compelling. I just think the actual, I think just the how everything goes down is interesting. It's entertaining. It's satisfying by the end,
and it's different. Yeah,
and it's just it really is just kind of a worthwhile follow up. I will say a big props to Alyssa Sutherland, who plays the mother/sister, who is kind of, I think, this is not a spoiler, she's on the fucking poster. She's like the main Deadite. I don't know how to say this in a way that doesn't seem mean, but I just feel like she's born to play a fucking Deadite. Like, she's just so good at it. She's got the look for it, and just like she's just sinks into the role so effectively that it's kind of scary. She, again, just has the right sort of playfulness for these Deadites, where they're just, they're demonic, obviously in a literal sense, but demonic in like a cheeky, fucked up sort of sense too. Where it's just, if you imagine just someone who just revels in delivering pain and being mean and just generally disgusting and just the most repelling kind of thing you can think of. Like, she's there, she does it, and she's very good at it. So special props to her, because I think she's the one that stood out for me from the whole cast. So I think are good, and I think it's a a pretty well done throughout. But she was the standout for me, for sure. I think that might be it for me for non-spoilers. You're right. There's really a lot of things to dive into and spoilers that, I can dance around it as much as I want to here. But at the end of the day, it's I've said it before, and I've probably already said it before multiple times, and I'll say it again, probably later. It feels right as an Evil Dead 5. It's its own thing. It's definitely its own thing. It does kind of, pay homage in many ways to what came before, but I do think it does enough to stand on its own, and that's kind of the goal with any sort of these movies, is like, don't make one that tarnishes the legacy, don't make one that's just rehashing everything. Like, do something with it. Like, if you're going to make the thing, give me something that justifies its existence.
Give me a story worth telling, right? Like it is with everything.
Yep. So I think it hit that mark. Obviously, audiences have generally felt the same way, and I think it's reviewed pretty well too. So yeah, Evil Dead Rise. I think pretty good. You want to do a recommendation?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So I think this is an easy one, which is nice. This is where, if we had to stick with I don't know, it might be a very yes film maybe anyway, but we don't have to do that. We don't have to decide. The good thing is we have to let our listeners know whether they should go watch this in theaters, watch it at home, or wait till someone pays them to watch it. Wait till their friend says, hey, I'm going to rent it, and I want you to watch it. And you say, fuck you, I hate horror movies. No, not even. It has to be worse than that. You know, like that's almost within the at home. It's like, all right, it's not literally at my home, but it's at someone's home. If like I'm good enough friends, like that's there. No, it has to be the point where like, I hate horror movies. I hate Evil Dead. I think Bruce Campbell's a real dickbag. You know, like they're so against this. And the friend says, I'm going to rent it and I'm going to pay you to come over and watch it. And then you still hate it.
Deal.
That's kind of where you're at. That's how you get to that territory. So yeah, where do you stand? Do you think, you know, obviously recognizing that maybe logistically it may be hard for people to go see this in theaters right now, and obviously it's logistically much easier to watch it at home. Do you think that it goes up to the go see it in theaters territory? Do you
does.
Think watching it at home
I think
right.
I think that this movie is you know, the 2013 Evil Dead for me brought something that I really enjoyed, a franchise that I really enjoyed, and it made it relevant.
I think based on my recollection of the bonus episode, that was your favorite of the four.
It is, yes. The 2013 one is just, I think that's got to be like one of I can't remember my all-time favorite movies, but it's got to be one of my all-time favorite movies. I think that this movie, to maybe somebody who is, it's an important film for horror. I think. I think it's a worthwhile movie to watch. I think it's a lot of fun. It doesn't necessarily stand on the shoulders of the things that came before it, but it highlights those shoulders. If that makes any sense, it stands on its own. And I think that, independent of that, I think it's a lot of fun. It's an engaging movie to watch with an audience, and it lends itself well to a large screen and loudspeakers and a group of people in one setting watching the movie. And you find that at the movie theaters. It's a movie theater movie, I think. So,
okay.
And it's worth taking the time to go see it. So,
yeah, I agree. I do think that there's enough here that even if seeing it at home feels like the most desirable option, I think that there's something to be said for the theater experience for this, for being able to lock in for 90 minutes without your phone. You know, well, I mean, you'll have your phone and you could look at it if you feel so inclined, but you shouldn't. You know, I think there's something to just, you know, getting the bigger screen, getting the better sound, and just getting more immersed in something like this. Like, it's something that I think rewards your attention, and it doesn't ask for a lot of time from you either. And I think it's enough to bump it up from, I'll watch it and I'll pause it when I got to pee kind of sort of thing. It's like, no, like just build 90 minutes out of your day around this movie and go for it. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this. Like, I think it does enough, and I'm pretty critical of horror movies. I find that most of them are not like that. I think most of them are just kind of disposable, kind of trashy shit. I mean, you know, enjoyed the hell out of M3, and I think that we probably said go see that in theaters too. And it's a very, very different movie from an M3.
Absolutely, for sure. But it's almost Evil Dead-esque, though.
Yes,
like it's I don't know. It's just
they both have the right level of playfulness to it. This one is a bit more, you know, straight up demons and horror, gore sort of thing. And M3 was like a fun, playful PG-13 level of horror. This is a bit more hardcore, to use that word,
for sure.
You know, and I think your mileage may vary in terms of like what you can literally stomach, I guess, you know. And I don't think that this pushes the boundaries of the franchise. I don't think it's as bad as 2013. I think 2013 Evil Dead is definitely way more hardcore, again, to use that same word. I think that this is even though there are definitely some gnarly moments in this, and some moments where it gets pretty bleak and dark, it's definitely, I think, closer. Again, I put it between that first Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. That first Evil Dead is closer to the 2013. And the 2013, I think, just had like the technology and the budget to make it more convincing and like kind of unsettling as a result. And then Evil Dead 2 was doing some silly shit. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like it was, still presented some horror, but it also had some silly shit in it. And this has moments of silly shit, but it's mostly played straight. Mostly. And so there's enough in here that I think, at the end of the day, you'll know if you like horror movies. You'll know if you like the Evil Dead movies. I think that if you like horror movies, definitely watch this. I think if you like Evil Dead movies, without a doubt, hopefully you've already watched it. If not, definitely do yourself a favor and go watch it. And that's just, it kind of operates in a niche, sort of environment where you kind of know if you're a little bit more predisposed to it than others. I know Anna would have zero interest in watching this movie. And I'm not going to try to convince her otherwise. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a genre redefining film that breaks the conventions of horror, that demands people who have absolutely no interest in watching horror movies watch it or anything like that.
No.
But it does what it intends to do, which is just make a good, solid follow-up in the Evil Dead franchise, and it succeeds from that standpoint. So that's kind of why I say, yeah, it's worth a watch in theaters. It's got enough going for it that it's pretty fucking good. It's a pretty good fucking little film. Fun, little, enjoyable, nasty film. So, should we do full spoilers for Evil Dead Rise?
Full spoilers.
Full spoilers for full spoilers for Evil Dead Rise. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No holding back now.
No holding back. So your favorite character was Sutherland, yeah? Or the standout actress.
She was the standout for me. She just was peak Deadite performance for me. Just I think just nailed that aspect of it.
I really liked the daughter that turned into the Deadite. Okay. The one that was eating glass.
Mm-hmm. Just had a nice wine glass to chomp on.
Just fucking swallowing glass and it's poking out of her throat. It's like, oh, Christ almighty. And she's the one that did the cheese grater. Oh, that's the cheese grater. Oof.
I thought the cheese grater would be worse. I think because it was such a... Like, you saw that moment in the trailer, and you're like, that's going to be real bad. I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying it was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wouldn't hurt a lot.
It wasn't the tongue-cutting thing either, though.
Yeah, I think like even that and 2013 is just a fucking gnarly, nasty film, and I think it definitely outdid this one in terms of just the level of shit that they did. Like, this did some things like kind of along... Like, honestly, I think the glass in the throat was worse than the cheese grater for me.
That was pretty bad. Yeah, because you didn't see that either. It was terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
I did enjoy her Deadite performance. I thought it was pretty good. I thought they designed the Deadites pretty cool too. I enjoyed the one thing that was also different, I think, is the fact that like the Deadites came out and got that other girl at the end of the movie, and which was the girl from the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Deadites continued to like do shit after the movie, or after the main character's experience. Like they went to a cabin. The Deadites went to that cabin.
Right, like the way that it opened with kind of its prologue and then it flashes back. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was kind of interesting. Because it seemed like it had that kind of little 5-minute opening sequence, I think, to kind of establish the tone and get right into things right away, so that demonic possession, Deadites, craziness kind of shit, and then it kind of slows down a bit before it picks and ramps back up. But there's a point where it's just like, how did we get to that point in the beginning of the movie? Like, how did we get to that point? And it does kind of circle back around to it, but it's really, the movie's really not about that. That's kind of almost just like the coda, the kind of follow up to it.
Yeah.
To the main events of the movie. I liked, there were two things, just speaking of that particular opening, there were two things that I liked about it that stood out to me. The first one was the Deadite cam being the drone. That was a good fake out.
Cool.
That was a good, like, kind of like, within the first 5 minutes, you're like, all right, they're being cute and fun with it. I like it. I like what they're doing here. They know what this franchise is, and they're leaning into it and having fun with it. Number 2 was the fucking title card was badass as all hell. Rising out of the lake and just getting the title, kind of in the background. And
was your theater so fucking loud?
Yeah. I mean, it was like, so I saw this like less than a week ago, and it was in like I don't want to say a rinky-dink theater, but it was in a tiny-ass theater, like a 15-seater kind of deal.
Oh, wow.
So it sounded pretty good, I think, but it wasn't like ear-shattering or anything like that.
We went and saw it at the Movie Co., and this shit was so loud. It was like, not like bassy loud, but like ear-piercingly loud. So like that, when she screams, when she jumps out of the bathtub and just looks at everybody and screams.
No, that was pretty loud.
It was like,
that was maybe the loudest moment in the whole movie, and it's like extended.
Yeah,
she's screaming. She's very much screaming for a prolonged period of time. Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta try to remember all the stuff. The boomstick. We get a boomstick in this movie, which is
we do get
cool.
a boomstick. We get a boomstick. We get a chainsaw. We get the classics.
We get a wood chipper, which was a callback from the 13 movie, wasn't it? 2013.
Yeah, I feel like there was
wood chipper.
Something along those lines. Yeah, I don't remember
it made
exactly.
It rain blood.
Yeah, it didn't quite rain blood here, but you did get the fucked up human centipede type shit at the end.
It reminded me of that. What's that space game? Dead Space.
Dead Space, yes.
Alien.
Dead Space creature is your third act final boss in this movie. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I liked that because that was different. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it's cool.
Do something new. Because I think, I guess in terms of like what this movie brought to the franchise that I think helped make it stand apart. I think first and foremost is it's pitting a family versus another family, which we have had shades of. I think Ash's sister is technically in the first Evil Dead movie, and she gets possessed, but it's not really like a full family ordeal. But also, like, they're like kids, you know what I mean? And like obviously, like the main kids are like teens, and there are smaller, younger kids, that live on that apartment floor that absolutely get fucking wrecked. But
yeah.
that little kid, oh man, that kid got wrecked through the little door hole. But having
the kid that shoots the eyeball out.
Oh yeah, which is, I think it's the silliest moment. Well, I don't know. There's two really fucking silly moments where I'm like, oh, they're just doing Evil Dead 2 here. The first one is when the teen in the beginning gets decapitated, and he's like, like while he's decapitated on the dock, and I was just like, that's a little silly. It feels a little silly. But the eyeball scene is straight up from Evil Dead 2. Like, it's like beat for beat recreated, except for I think like it's not the same mechanism in which it happens. In here, it's biting the eyeball out and then spitting it out into the other kid's mouth, and him choking on it. So that's a little bit different. But the actual like idea of that scene is just straight up from Evil Dead 2. Because like it's funny, like when I first saw that, I'm like, that's some Evil Dead 2 ass shit. And then I was looking up some of the discourse about the movie, and they're like, oh no, it's literally just a scene that happened exactly that way in Evil Dead 2 of like a Deadite's eye popping out, going straight into a woman's throat and choking her choking on it. So I'm like, hey, it's
perfect. That's cool.
Play the greatest hits, and it does that, but not in a way that feels cheap and, just like a nostalgia ploy. You know what I mean? Like it's not relying on those beats to make the movie effective. It does enough on its own to make it worthwhile. And I think it's Evil Dead. It's really just the family shit for me that sells it. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you got?
I don't think. To answer your thing, I don't think we've seen family shit before in Evil Dead, have we?
This.
The Ash in 2013 they were friends, and he's trying to save the sister.
Yeah, it's brother and sister, but this is like
this is a full family deal.
This is mother and kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And good thing father's a real deadbeat, because otherwise he picked a really good time to leave the family. Is what I'll say. But yeah, not like this. We've seen family, but like older siblings this is different when you're talking about mother and children, kind of like it's just a different sort of dynamic, I think.
I thought that the book was, the design of the book was really cool. I always loved the design of the books, but this one, the blood causes the bindings to open up so we can open it. Which is
it's got like neat. The monster teeth, like the one from Harry Potter.
Yeah. And he plays the record, which is like a callback to the first one. I guess maybe I think it's the first one. I don't think there was a record in the 13 one, was there?
I feel like there's a recording of some sort, but I don't recall it being a record. But I could be mistaken. It's been however many years since we did that bonus episode, since we've watched any of those movies, I would guess. So mom's dead, and they bring her to the neighbor's house. They drag her to the neighbor's apartment, and they're doing a thing or whatever, and all of a sudden her eyes just flick open. Boom. Yeah. I was sitting next to Steven. Both of us laughed. Thought that was funny. Man, just a lot of fun. You get those, and I understand that those I can't remember. Is it John Woo? It makes maybe John Woo makes the Mission Impossible movies. I'm not sure. He's made a Mission Impossible movie, the second one.
Okay, I'm not talking about that John Woo. Okay. I'm talking about a different Woo who makes the...
John Wick?
No, not John Wick. Maybe it's
John
not
Malkovich?
John. Maybe it's just Woo. He's the director that makes all the fucking possessed movies. There's like 9 of them now. There's the one with the doll, and there's the one where like the kid picks up his head and like this tentacle comes out of his mouth.
It's the guy ghost. That did Aquaman. Fuck, I'm blanking on his name now too. This is what happens: is you forget it, then it goes out of my brain. Infects your brain,
right?
James Wan,
not Woo, Mr. Wan.
Right, correct.
You get those movies, but these are so radically different.
Yes.
And everybody seems to really like those movies. I've never been down that train before, but I hear they're good. I hear they're pretty renowned.
Some of them are good. Some of them are not. I think this is still, at the end of the day, more our speed, like you and I.
Okay.
I think that, I don't know.
It's really cool when a horror movie doesn't lean into like okay, let's make it silent for a little bit, and then we'll do a slow zoom on this thing, and it's dark, and it was loud like 3 minutes ago, but now it's real quiet, and then we're gonna open the door real fast and make it real loud again, and then everybody jumps, and it's scary or whatever.
Yes, this type of horror is less jump scare and more think about how depraved and fucked up this situation is.
So
and
much
let that
better.
sink in. I think if anything, this is closer to a Hellraiser in terms of just the type of movie, the feel of it, and how it's just like more just unsettling than it is like, oh, I jumped in my seat. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the movie you think about after the fact, thinking about like, that's really fucked up. It's really fucked up that the shit that that Jedi is saying through the mother's like physical form,
through the mom. Like these kids had to watch their mom turn into like this fucking demon that just jumped onto the ceiling. Some crazy
with
shit.
The maggots now.
Oh, it's terrible. That's terrible shit.
She called them titty sucking parasites or some shit.
That was pretty good. I did laugh about that.
Yeah, shit like that. That's like, I like the Deadite style of humor, if you want to call it that, is great because it's just saying like awful fucked up shit because like, yeah, that seems like something like a demonic entity would do, is try to just troll you, in like the most hurtful way possible.
Egg you on.
Yeah.
It's so good. I can't like remember what she says under the.
They're trying to upset you so much that you don't even feel bad about like stabbing your own family. Like they're so far gone. They've done something so much to upset you that like in your perception you're seeing red so much that I don't care that this was once my mother, or this maybe has a chance to still be my mother, because like we've seen in other movies, like you can get the Deadite out of them and save whoever has been possessed. That doesn't really happen here.
No, it doesn't happen in a lot of them.
No, most of them die in horrible ways, because of the circumstances. But yeah, I mean, it's just real family on family violence. You get the fucking the daughter gets fucking straight up impaled through the face by the little kid.
The brother. What happened to the brother? What happened to him?
I think he just, I don't remember. I think he gets stabbed to death and then gets turned into the dead space creature. Becomes kind of
they kind of like merge into her stomach and shit.
Yeah. I will say on the note of the son,
he's a little shit.
He is a little shit. It's all his fault, and he does admit to as much within the movie. And everyone's like, no, it's not your fault. Like, nah, it's pretty much your fault, actually.
It's definitely your fucking fault.
We
told you to get out of that thing.
Get out. Don't play this fucking thing. Close this book. Stop looking through it. It's clearly like not meant to. This is not meant for mortal consumption. Like one look at this, like, no. This thing's got teeth on it. I'm good. Like unless you're in Harry Potter world, as I established before, that's a real nope kind of situation that you're looking at. Man. But the actor is Morgan Davies, who is a trans actor, and people online were like really like recognizing this film. Number one, for like not calling that out and just letting the actor just play a character. But number two, for being a really I think fairly progressive step of saying that even trans people can be real fucking morons too. It's because like every character that's trans or a trans actor, like it's always about that kind of being the thing. You see it a lot with obviously gay characters as well. It's just like their personality has to be that they're gay. You know what I mean? And here it's like
this is just a person.
This person's personality. This character's personality is just that they're a fucking idiot. They're a dumbass teenager who wants to be a DJ. Of course, they would open the Book of the Dead and find it interesting and summon the demons inadvertently. Like, yes, perfect archetype for this character. So I thought that was pretty funny, actually. Yeah. What else? What else do we talk about for Evil Dead Rise?
We got the boomstick. We got the merge. We got the wood chipper. We got the fly on the eyeball. Did we talk about the fly on the eyeball? I thought that was pretty unsettling.
No, that was good. Good. Don't know that we had. Oh, the elevator sequence. That was
the elevator
that was
sequence,
pretty good.
yeah, which was the tree rape sequence.
That was the equivalent of the tree rape. And again, as both the original and 2013 kind of just went for it, this one tones it down a little bit, which I think is okay. That's been
totally okay. I'll take,
it's always been kind of one of those sequences in Evil Dead where it's just like, is this too far? And it's like, I mean, it's Evil Dead. It's kind of the point, right? But it is still kind of
did the tree. I know that she got like wrapped up in the tree in 2013, but was it?
I don't know that it's quite as explicit as it is in the original.
The original was pretty fucking.
The original is pretty
explicit.
Yeah, I mean, not like,
and I think unnecessarily
literal
so.
in its depiction, but it gets pretty
weird,
pretty messed up with it in an uncomfortable way. Not in obviously in an unsettling way inherently too, but also in just like we've now gone to the point where I'm like, I don't know if we need this, right?
Yeah, it's an 80s thing, maybe. We can chalk it up to that.
Yeah,
I don't know,
maybe,
but. Anyways, she gets wrapped up by like the elevator wires and shit,
right?
And
like the cables and shit. I thought it was a good kind of riff on it, of this same
totally school,
sort of thing of the possession taking place and the same sort of twisted way where she's just getting strung up and
she's contorted in like a weird way, and it's real unsettling. And then they go back to the elevator, and the elevator fills full of blood.
You get kind of a Shining-esque kind of shit there, which I thought was cool. Hey, if the movie's using buckets of blood, then that's pretty cool, and I think when because it's her. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about this little girl. This girl is so fucking traumatized for life. Jesus Christ. I mean, this girl has gone through the ringer. She lost her pizza in the beginning of the movie, even though I think it arguably was fine. I think they just dropped the boxes on the floor. I think the pizza would have been fine.
Come on now.
It was a little ridiculous. I think that was the most unrealistic aspect of the film. But no, I mean, losing mom, losing her brother and sister, she's got Auntie, but Auntie's got her own problems in life and whatnot. Man, I just felt like this poor girl. It's just like this whole movie is like an exercise in how to traumatize an individual for their entire life in a way that they will almost certainly never be able to recover. Real messed up, but at least she survived, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Is that better? Perhaps. But
I guess, yeah. I mean, she's seen some shit for sure. This is definitely the start of a career. This little girl is
she's good.
Yeah. You put a little, I mean, she's got to be real young.
Oh, I'm sure she's, I don't know.
Was born November 2nd, 2011. So what's that make her? That makes her 10, 11 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
You put an 11-year-old in a movie this dark and this kind of twisted, and you could go south real quick. You just have an annoying little kid. No, she owned it.
She was good. Kid casting is tough, but if you can pull it off, then it,
you
kudos,
pull it off.
Props to you for doing it. Yeah, no, she was good. I think she fit right in, and then she was convincing. I always wonder, like, what are the ethics of having like a kid film this movie? Like, obvious, she's old enough, I think, that she knows, like, like this is kind of fake and have fun with it. But I have to imagine it's still kind of a difficult scenario. Like, if I'm Alyssa Sutherland and I'm, acting as her mother and I'm saying horrible shit to this little girl, like, I mean, sometimes I feel like sometimes they film it in a way that like they're not literally saying it to a kid. But
could you imagine that little kid's face?
It's still pretty awful at the same time.
That's probably how you get a good child actor. You really expose them to this really shitty stuff.
You just traumatize them, like, oh, the blood shit's fake and whatnot, but the verbal insults, that's real. That's some real shit. Some real Stanley Kubrick, Shelley Duvall kind of shit. Make them feel like a real piece of shit. Break them down emotionally, mentally.
And then fun fact, they're 11 years old.
Oh, yeah, and they're just a child. Oh, you're scarred for life? Well, too bad. No, don't do that. That's awful.
For a while,
that's awful. That's awful. Definitely don't do that.
Lord have mercy.
Anyway. There was a Bruce Campbell cameo in this, which I didn't realize until after the fact.
Same.
He makes a voice cameo on one of those recordings, and I did notice the voice was different, but I didn't realize who it was. But it's the voice on the recording saying "Destroy it." It's called the Book of the Dead for a reason, which I think is fair. And the director Lee Cronin has basically said that he had Campbell do this intentionally because, in his mind, that's Ash Williams actually saying that. He's, because of weird timey-wimey Army of Darkness shit, he's ended up at the point where they're doing this kind of reading of the book, back in the past, which is, what happens before it gets sealed, in the bank vault sort of shit. Yeah, no, it was cool. Yeah. I think that's a really kind of neat touch. We got like a little bit of him in the credits of the 2013 one. And I think I would. I could see them doing like one more kind of vaguely standalone thing. This movie quite literally ends with the demon in the wind, because of the way that it opens with that prologue. Right. She just rises out. That's the last thing that we see chronologically. Like the Deadite is out in the world right now, so Havoc can still be, which is happening in the future,
like Evil Dead show kind of stuff, or Evil Dead video game or whatever. The book has been nobody's concluded like that. Nobody's stopped the spell or whatever.
Right, and I think
you got to do.
The building is condemned. It's going to be destroyed at some point, but like someone at some point is going to notice that this whole floor has been slaughtered. Cops are going to come out, right? And probably before it gets demolished. So the cops find the Book of the Dead. Right? You know what I mean? Like what happens from that point is that goes into the evidence locker, and there's a whole Evil Dead within a police station, and then there's. Oof. And then, I don't know, there's a Deadite in the fucking cabin, and maybe they'll go somewhere. I don't know. To me, this almost opens the door to more Evil Dead badness in happening in the future. And I could see them doing like another kind of somewhat standalone events, just somewhat sequentially after this.
They did do this at the end of Army of Darkness, where he gets back and he's like, I could have stayed in time where I was a king and this and that. and I chose to come back and
shop smart.
Shop smart. Shop S smart.
Hail to the king, baby.
What's the quote? God damn it! I wish I could remember all the quote. I haven't seen it in so long. I could have stayed back.
Is my boomstick.
It's the best. It is the best.
I don't know, but I think my prediction is this is obviously done very well. I think this is not the last that we see of the Evil Dead franchise. I could see them doing another kind of new set of characters, but I think at the end of the day, I really want to see all of it come together. We can see Beth, who's the lead character in this, come back. I want to see Mia come back from the 2013 one, and I want to see Ash come back in full glory. Like, let's have a Avengers crossover Evil Dead, once and for all. Evil Dead Once and for All. That's the name of the movie that I'm making it.
Borderline Army of Darkness title. That'd be excellent.
Yeah, merge your tones. End up somewhere in the Evil Dead 2 kind of realm, but do it better, because I think it's the weakest in the franchise, in my estimation.
I think so, too. Yeah, it's not my favorite.
I don't know. I think that would just be really fucking cool to see
I tell you which one is my favorite, though. What is your favorite?
In the franchise overall?
Out of all of them.
I was trying to remember what I said back in the day, whenever we recorded that bonus episode. And I know that at a minimum, my top two were the original The Evil Dead and then the 2013 Evil Dead for sure. I can't remember what I put at the top. I feel like my brain is saying that I put the first Evil one. I put the original Sam Raimi one there, but I think the 2013 one, because of when I grew up and like when I saw it, is the more memorable one for me. I think it was I was 20 something at the time, maybe literally 20. Like, it just kind of felt like the right movie for me at the right time. So I think it kind of has that sort of impact for me. So
were we only that were we that old when it came out?
Roughly.
Yeah, I bought my house in 2012. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically 10 years ago, you know what I mean? So subtract your, 10 from your current age and you get there.
Man.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We're both in the 30s now. Oh god.
We're both climbing.
Disgusting. I mean, you have a kid on the way though, it's okay. You're doing adult like things and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. So I might give a slight edge to the 2013 Evil Dead as my overall favorite for the franchise as it stands right now. Which again may be which may not be the same thing that I said when we talked about it 4 years ago after I'd watched them. So that's probably really more my actual thoughts on the matter, is whatever I said after I watched them is what counts. But in my brain right now, that 2013 one really just stands out for me. I think that this one might slide right in the middle. I think it's definitely better than Evil Dead 2. I don't know if I'd put it above Army of Darkness, but obviously they're very different.
Army of Darkness is a totally different movie.
But Army of Darkness just has such a charm to it in a way I think that Evil Dead 2 strived for and didn't totally pull off, I think, overall. So I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of my general franchise rankings, loosely anyway. What about you? I assume 2013 is still top for you.
Yeah, the 13 still at the top for me. I think that Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2013 is it has the twisted nature of the Deadites.
Yes.
I feel like zero hamminess. There's like no ham.
It's played straight. It's like the tone of the original, but again with, technology and just everything about it is it's fucking serious. Like it's not fucking around. It's not having fun and a wink and a nod or anything like that. It's like
it's almost as if you were experiencing a Deadite, they would still say the fucked up stuff. They do still say it, but they're also like twisted. Like it's a straight. They play it straight, like you say. Mm-hmm. I would slot this movie. I'd slot this one below 2013. 13 is still my favorite. Army of Darkness is great just because of it takes what 2 attempted to do, and I think it perfected it in such like it took such a outlandish kind of thing in order to give Evil Dead the kind of hamminess that it was looking for. You know what I mean? Let's take this back in time.
It went full tilt with it. Like, let's really lean into it instead of kind of trying to dip our toes in both worlds. Totally, yes.
It's agreed. A totally awesome movie.
But it's worlds apart from even this movie. You know what I mean? Even with some silliness in this movie, Army of Darkness is just on another fucking planet.
You know, so anyways, this is not my favorite Evil Dead, but it is it's definitely up there.
It stacks up.
It stacks up, right, exactly.
And that's all I could have asked out of this movie walking in. I didn't expect it to supplant the 2013 or even the original. Like, that's a tall task. But I think for it to stand alongside those, I think is a very worthy accomplishment in its own right.
That's right.
So, yeah, definitely worth a watch. Glad we, even if we're a little bit late to the party, are covering it.
Glad we got to talk about it, though.
I mean, Evil Dead's our thing. It would have felt stupid if we didn't get to talk about it in full detail.
Absolutely.
So,
I was going to feel a little sad.
Yeah, it would have really hurt our hearts, you know?
So when I got that text message that said Evil Dead, it's like, yes, we're gonna talk about it.
I was trying to flip the script because you did it. You sent me the text, you know. So I was trying to do the same thing.
But up to that point, I know if we were going to record on it, and I was a little upset.
Well, I was going to see when I came back from Europe, and then I got COVID, and I was just like, well, shit. By the time I'm free and clear, it's Guardians time, so I got to watch Guardians. So not that was a bad thing, although that was obviously
that was a good thing,
emotionally heavy in some ways too. It was really good. My final thought, which is something I probably could have mentioned earlier, is I saw someone online basically could say it's like a reverse Exorcist, where instead of the kid being possessed and tormenting the mother, it's the mother being possessed and tormenting the kid/kids here. And I really liked that comparison, you know, and that was like, I don't know, I did a really good job of just a mother tormenting the shit out of her kids in a horrible, horrible sort of way, but a good horror-y sort of way at the same time. The kind of right sort of thing that you want this to be. Really, really good. And all the my second final thought is all the door. Jesus Christ, the shots through the into the hallway, the people, yes, the peephole. That was really creative and very well done.
Gold? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a really cool way of doing things. You know, you get the classic Deadite cam, zooming around and shit. Even when it's not the drone fake out, you do kind of get it full on later. But that was like a little nugget of creativity, and I'm just like, yes, cool. I love creative filmmaking. This is cool. This is a cool way of seeing things and kind of seeing things play out in like a one-way, one-take hallway sort of deal, but through this kind of very limited perspective, and then her like even talking into it, at times it was just good. It was really good. It was a good way of doing all that. Yeah.
I think my one final thought was, we didn't talk about it. It was the beginning of the movie. The sister, whoever's laying in the bed, and the other sister goes to sit with her, whoever, I think she's her sister. I can't quite remember, but she's sitting there and she's reading a book, and then all of a sudden the Deadite possessed sister starts like reciting the words in the book.
She's reading the book, yeah, even though obviously she doesn't know what it says. She closes the book. Yeah, that was good.
Real fucked up. Like it was just like, and that's kind of stuff.
Same. Yeah. First 5 minutes, it sets the tone, and you're just like, I'm in. Okay. All right. They know what they're doing. I'm in. Like really, that first 5 minutes did it effectively. Like honestly, their whole plot is completely meaningless and has no bearing on anything else in this movie. It's really just establishing the tone and feel of the movie, and it does it in spades. And I think it's effective, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. And it's not like some 20-minute extended prologue. It's just this is what what you signed up for.
Start the movie,
like buckle up.
The big thing with me with horror movies is like the sound a lot of times. So sometimes I'll put especially in movie theaters and stuff, because they're so loud and they're just kind of scary, but I can't look away. Sometimes I'll just put like my finger on my ear, and especially there in the beginning of this movie, it felt like I had my finger on my ear like the entire fucking time. It's like, oh, when's it gonna pop off? It's gonna pop off. And it started to pop off in a slow, melodical way when she started reading the book. And it's like, oh, man, we're watching Evil Dead. I started getting real excited at that point. So,
yeah, totally.
Anyways, Evil Dead, dude. Awesome creative stuff. Every entry is wildly creative.
Dead by Dawn?
Dead by Dawn.
a good Evil Dead 2 throwback as well. All right, I think that does it for Evil Dead Rise. Rise. So yeah, that brings us to what we've been up to. It hasn't been terribly long since we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, maybe a week or so. But I would love to hear what's been going on in Andrew Meadows' life in that.
Andrew Meadows has been playing some video games, dude.
Oh my God. More Star Wars, I bet?
Definitely a lot more Star Wars. I think the last time that we talked, I told you I got hiccups from all these BLs I've been drinking.
BL Platinums. Just to be clear.
Yeah. They go down like water, but they give you hiccups.
They give you hiccups.
Anyways, I think last time that we talked, I had acquired a blaster stance and a crossguard stance.
That seems to check out, yes.
Which is pretty cool. I found some clothes this time that make me look almost like a clone trooper, which is pretty cool with a lightsaber and a blaster. I like it a lot. I went from having like a long like man bun kind of hairstyle to having like a short crop hairstyle.
You didn't go for like the mullet style. I think that's available as an option.
It is, yeah. No mullet, handlebar mustache. I definitely did not do that. I like to try to, I don't know, I like to make them look like I want to watch them in a
That would take
scene.
You out of it, the entire
Exactly.
thing. It turns into a joke. So yes, I expect whenever I get around to playing it myself, I will not be opting for the mullet and handlebar mustache either.
What did we do? Had another boss fight. The direction that they're taking this game in is very cool. It's very interesting.
Okay.
For like Star Wars lore and stuff. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think it's an awesome game. It is a little buggy and like the platforming isn't perfect.
I think the first one kind of had issues along those lines too.
Yeah, like when you land a platforming sequence, you feel good about it because it looked really awesome. It felt really cool. It never really feels great, but it was serviceable and it looked really cool. But then there's sometimes like when you have to do something kind of like more nuanced and more like it's just platformy. And it should work and it doesn't, like you end up running in the opposite direction for some reason or what have you. I've had some issues with the wall running and stuff, and that's kind of disappointing, but the high marks are so much higher than the low marks that that I'm having a really good time with it. There's they spent so much time creating all the material in this game, and I'm not diving in. I'm kind of just hitting the
material,
critical
like,
missions,
like side things you can do, places you can explore. Like,
yeah, I do a handful of them. There's a lot like there is in all these types of games.
Yeah, you can spend 100 hours if you get sucked into it all.
Yeah, talking to people and listening to their story and all this. The biggest thing for me is I want the stuff that looks cool, so I look for the chests. And I try to fight the bosses that I can fight, and I try to find the extra stuff that I can find. As far as like diving into like listening to all the side characters and all their stuff, I don't really listen to them a whole lot, but the main story is definitely very cool. I also downloaded Zelda.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've been playing other video games?
I have been playing other video games. I downloaded Zelda
Tears of the Kingdom. You spent
Tears
some time
of the
with it?
Kingdom. Not a whole lot. Enough to realize that I need to spend like just time with Zelda because like the combat, like I go into it trying to fight like Star Wars and it's like it's like not going to work. So, Zelda's beautiful. I got the chance to play.
Finish out Star Wars and then jump over. I don't know how you operate if you.
I actually picked up Zelda to probably play in the nursery, like when I have to sit there and watch Baby B in the nursery and stuff.
Good handheld experience for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. but I couldn't resist not starting it, so I started it. It's very, very cool game, very beautiful. I got the chance to play on a Switch OLED, and Switch OLED is definitely a thing.
It's definitely an upgrade. I mean, no doubt about it.
It performs the same way mine does, which is just like
I wish it was a hardware upgrade. If it was even like a slight hardware upgrade, I would have done it. Like no doubt.
Yeah, because I mean it is
the screen upgrade is
pretty.
definitely noticeable, no doubt about it. And I just think, I don't know. I mean the things we're talking about 5-year-old hardware, which was already
bonkers.
Not top of the line when it came out either. So it's like, I mean the games look good, they run well. For the most part, but that
Zelda
they could look better.
Run very good, Zelda could run so much better.
Like you're right. You could have a 60 frames per second Zelda if you upgraded shit, but now it runs at 30 and then chugs here and there. Probably is how
and you give me
is.
such a beautiful screen. Like I could have such a beautiful fucking screen to play it on. So that's kind of disappointing. At the same time, it's kind of like, do I want to spend the money to do it? Kind of do. But I kind of don't need to because it performs the same.
Or something. Some Switch 1.5 has
to be
around
coming out at some point,
like next year or two. And I've just been holding out. And like until they give me something that's like an actual,
give me an OLED
upgrade,
with a better hardware, right?
Yeah, or just a Switch 2 that's backwards compatible and games are cross compatible. Like give me a Tears of the Kingdom that has a visual upgrade, a performance upgrade. For new platform, like fine. I would even pay $10-$20 to have that sort of upgrade.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Anyway, so I've been playing those games. I've been liking the games that I've been playing. I played God of War, beat God of War.
Right.
I'm now in Star Wars. I'm playing Star Wars.
You're on a pretty good run. No stinkers in the bunch.
No stinkers in the bunch. I don't have a lot of time to play fucking video games,
exactly.
so I try to want to hit the high
That's exactly
points.
Like you know that you're going to have limited time. Like feel pretty good about what you're getting into, before you really feel like you're going to commit time to some shit.
It's kind of a huge like shift in me. Because I used to spend a lot of time in multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Let me get really good and really competitive at and my competitive nature was honed out in the video games.
I mean, that's hundreds of hours just down the tubes, like if you get sucked into that point.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore. I'm not going to be a live streamer.
A single player game, even one that's really intense, even if you got like a full-on Japanese RPG, like that's when you're getting, like an Elden Ring is probably when you're getting closer to that level of time suck, but still not to the same extent. And you have an out. You're like, if I beat it, like obviously you can play Elden Ring 100 times and do it with different types of characters and
builds
shit,
and stuff. Yeah,
but at the same time, it's still, you can always kind of just dip out whenever you need to dip out. And multiplayer
we're old man
games are
gaming
harder.
now.
Yeah,
that's it.
I've always gravitated more towards single player myself, but obviously you and I have had our span of times where Overwatch and Rocket League were and honestly Marvel Snap is like my multiplayer experience still now, where that's my time suck, but in a different way. Like that's different than spending
different platform
2 hours on Overwatch a night kind of deal. So anyways,
gaming's changed for me over the years. Big thing is Baby B can like be here at any moment.
Yeah.
Sarah's we've been having rough nights. Sarah's been pretty uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
She is her body is ready to purge itself of Baby. Baby is ready to be here.
I mean, you're knocking on the door. You're within 2-week window basically.
Yeah. 39 weeks is next Wednesday. But we have a baby appointment this Thursday, and it might happen this Thursday because it's going to be a holiday weekend.
Let's see what happens.
We don't know, but baby has gotten very big. Baby's, I think as far as 2 Wednesdays ago, baby was 7 pounds, 10 ounces.
Big boy.
I say baby, but his name's Bennett. We know it's a boy, and we know his name, so I just call him Bennett. But Bennett was 7 pounds, 10 ounces at 36 weeks. So he's getting big. And it keeps getting bigger, and Sarah keeps getting more uncomfortable, and she wants to come.
He sounds like he's pretty much ready to enter this world.
He's getting there. So any time, any day, I could be a dad.
It's happening.
Which is
Papa
it's
Meadows.
happening. Papa Meadows, yeah, it's coming. And it's a thing. The closer it gets, or just man, it's a stressful thing. It's not even a stressful thing. It's just it's a heady thing to think about.
Yeah.
The sort of responsibilities that come along with that.
Well, it's a life-changing thing.
It's definitely a life-changing thing. So my goal is to make sure that that I do right by him, and that I don't contribute to the amount of assholes in the world today. And I just contribute to having a decent human being. Exactly. You hope so. So anyways, I am so stoked. I'm so excited, and it's getting closer every day. So you will know the second that something is happening. I'll be sure to let you know, but, yeah, it's fixing to happen. Aside from that, Sarah and I have, we started and finished the Ed Sheeran documentary on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
The Sum of All Things.
How was that?
I thought it was really, really well done. Ed Sheeran.
What's kind of the thrust of it? Is it just his life story? Is there...
No, well, I mean, it kind of talks a little bit about it, but it's more so like what's happened the past couple years. Okay. Ed Sheeran lost one of his closest friends.
Okay.
And he was producing an album, and like they were going to be making a documentary of this thing, and it kind of shifted when he lost his friend, and his wife got diagnosed with cancer, and his wife was fine, and life's been okay, but he lost his friend, and it's kind of like him grappling with that, and while producing an album, and he just seems like just a total guy, a total dude. Like he just be cool, content, just sitting here talking to you. You know what I mean? He's not, for being as wildly successful as he is, he does not seem like a wildly successful person, right? Does it make sense? I probably said that wrong. He doesn't come off like an asshole. He's just
seems down to earth.
He's a down to earth kind of guy, right? And man, I think it's a 4-episode deal. Each episode's half an hour. I really like Ed Sheeran's music. I think he's a wonderful artist, and so I was interested to watch it. Didn't know anything about his personal life or any of that, and then watching it, I just I like Ed Sheeran even more. And it was really well done. It was well shot. It was really good. It was really well made. And highly, highly, highly recommended if you're into that sort of thing.
Okay.
So and aside from that, I think that's pretty much it. It's all the things I've been up to. What have you been up to, man?
So since May 4th rolled around, we've been doing a little Star Wars action.
Nice.
We rewatched A New Hope, Empire, and we're attempting a sort of machete order, which is, I think the traditional machete order is 4, 5, 2, 3, 6 is kind of like the viewing order. It's not recommended for first-time viewers of Star Wars, but if you've seen it a million times, the idea, I think, is
why would you watch it that way? What is that?
I think the idea is that once you see the reveal of, no, I am your father, then you kind of get to go back and see Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship and how that kind of developed, and the development of Anakin into Vader, so that his redemption kind of pays off from his creation. I think that's kind of the general thing, is skip over 1 because it's mostly useless in terms of plot. It doesn't matter. 2 is real bad. But I guess it's the older Anakin, it's the Hayden, version of Anakin, so there's some value there or some shit. And then 3 is kind of, obviously that's a big one for the prequels of really just the turn to the dark side for Anakin, becoming Darth Vader, the relationship between him and Obi-Wan. I think that's kind of it. You know, I don't know. Some dude on the internet made it, is really kind of what it boils down to. I've never really watched it that way. I really just watch it in release order is kind of typically how I do it all the time. But we decided Anna wanted to rewatch them, and so, it's Star Wars. I'm okay with watching Star Wars pretty much any time in the week, as long as it's the original trilogy. So she had to pull some teeth for us to watch Revenge of the Sith, but we did. We've done A New Hope, Empire, as I said, and then we skipped over Attack of the Clones, so we're doing like a pseudo machete order. And so we did Revenge of the Sith, and I think... So what we did after that was we finished Andor. We had 2 episodes left in Andor, and we watched them, I think, back-to-back nights. So we finished Andor finally. Obviously, I've talked about it a little bit, on and off, a little bit in comparison to the Mando. Incredible first season, ended incredibly as well. Really, really good payoff and good setup and, promise of what's to come in season 2 kind of thing. Just a really stellar show. I mean, kind of a high watermark for Star Wars on television, even far and beyond, I think. Even the earlier seasons of Mando, certainly better than the most recent season, as we said, but it's just the most Star Wars-y shit out there, in the best way possible. Just really fucking cool stuff. So we finished Andor, and I think that we're now going to go into Rogue One, and then go back to, I guess, Return of the Jedi. I don't know. It's all fucky, is how I feel about it. But I've seen them all enough times. I really don't care. I'm excited to revisit Rogue One, especially off the back of watching, the 12 episodes of Andor. It's been a few years since I've seen Rogue One, whereas I feel like the other ones we tend to watch pretty much most years. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of in Star Wars mode. We haven't watched Visions yet. I do want to watch Visions. I know we haven't talked about that really.
Oh man,
you and I. But I do want to give Visions a go. I think there's definitely. I'm sure it's worth talking about. So at some point, even if it is just kind of relegated to a catching up thing, I definitely want to get into that more. But yeah, I can't say enough about Andor. Just the way that it's segmented into its like kind of interesting little pods throughout the season. I think it does a really good job in terms of balancing the pacing. I think if anything, it starts a little slow, but then by the end of episode 3, shit kind of pops off, and it kind of just has all of the forward momentum. And I'm really, really looking forward to season 2, because what they've said is it's covering like a 5-year time period from the end of season 1 leading up to like right before the events of Rogue One. So I'm really interested to see how they build up, that whole kind of thing. And all the characters are really interesting. I mean, Cassian obviously is cool, but I think what they've done with like Stellan Skarsgård's character was really, really cool. He was just really interesting. I'm excited to see how they pull off kind of the seeds of rebellion forming into the full-on rebellion kind of thing. Show. It just seems like a really fucking cool story, and then just amazing production values, just bringing it all to life. Just great shit. Top tier Star Wars, without a doubt. So yeah, I didn't actually have it on my list. I was just talking about Star Wars stuff, but I did bring it up earlier, so I will do a slight catch up on Barry. I've watched 1 episode of Barry since we last talked about it, which would have been before Europe. However, the episode that I watched, I think, was one of the first ones, maybe the first one. I don't know if it's exactly the first one, but if nothing else, it's one of the first ones that Bill Hader himself directed, and it's episode 5 of season 2, and it's where, I guess, spoilers for 2 seasons ago of Barry, for anyone that cares. It's where he goes to kill the guy that is fucking the cop's wife, and the guy is like a fucking like jujitsu master and kicks his ass, and the guy, he has to like punch this guy's windpipe in, but then this kid has a daughter who like shows up and like beats the fuck out of Barry and stabs Barry, and like they go to the convenience store, and then there's a whole confrontation at the convenience store. It is surreal as shit. Talk about surreal from Poor Things. Surreal in a different way. It's not surreal in a literal surrealist painting sort of way, but surreal in a what the fuck is happening kind of crazy bullshit sort of way. Episode was absolutely nuts. I forget what it was called. I think it was like the two names of the characters that he's like targeted to kill.
Was it the daughter? Was it the daughter? The daughter was on top of the roof.
She's like feral,
like a
she's
gargoyle.
Like she's like a feral daughter, feral mongoose or whatever is I think what he calls her.
That shit was so. Oh man, that season of Barry was just
totally
unreal.
batshit.
Did you finish that season?
No,
you did
no.
Finish the season.
No, I haven't. Oh. That's the last one I've watched. I've watched one episode in the span of like the last month. This is what I say when I struggle when it's not something that Anna and I are watching, like, I'm like, I gotta carve out time. Like, it's really about carving out time.
Tough. It really is tough.
You know, and the time that I carve out, I spend recording, I spend editing, I spend reading, doing other shit, and video games and stuff like that. Oh, I bought Tears of the Kingdom. It hasn't arrived yet, but I did finally purchase it. So, I'm gonna replay Breath of the Wild and then go into not replay Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna finish Breath of the Wild, because I never beat the Hyrule Castle part. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to jump right into Tears of the Kingdom, so I can kind of just go from the ending of Breath of the Wild into Tears. But yeah, it's just it's a balancing act, and you're going to have another thing to balance.
That's right.
Here very soon. So that's what adulting's about, or whatever. Right? That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I use what time I have for things. So I definitely want to watch more Barry. It's very compelling. And that episode was just so fucking bonkers. I have to see where it goes. I thought it was like a dream sequence because it was so absolutely batshit.
Keeps kicking him in the throat.
Yeah,
he can't breathe.
Yeah. I was like, how, like, if this is real, Barry's caught immediately. Like how's he gonna get out of this one? And he's got like a goatee of blood. So I'm like, oh, maybe the video footage, like he'll look like someone with a goatee, and that'll throw people off just enough. I don't know. I don't know where it goes. Like, I'm behind. I know season 4 the final season's airing, and I've heard that it's pretty fucking crazy in its own right too. So
is it really? I haven't started it yet.
Yeah, no, I think it's like halfway done, something like that. So
well, you can catch it now on Max.
I can watch it on Max. Maybe it's in 4K. I don't fucking know. I don't have the ability to watch it, but I can watch it in 1080p. That's what it sounds like, and maybe I could even download it offline if I'm at the mid tier. But not if I'm at Natty Light tier, then I can't watch it offline. Good stuff.
Well, even when they had that functionality, it was still shit. Try to download the stuff and it never downloads. It was terrible.
Maybe they upgraded that portion of it for Max. Doubt it. Kind of doubt it though. That's it for me.
That's all I got.
I have been up to other things, but it's things that will be saved for the next episode. Yeah, vroom vroom. So I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. If you want to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Watch Review Repeat, you can get early access to all of our regular episodes, timed exclusive access to any future bonus episodes or special episodes. Our website is watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on not all of the socials, but a few of the socials. We're not on Parler. Parler got shut down, right? I think that was a thing that happened.
Parler got shut down, but there's the Truth Network.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Totally on that one. But you'll have to search for us, and see what you can find. I won't tell you what our handle is. We're on Twitter at WRRPod. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Watch Review Repeat, and Instagram we are on as well at Watch Review Repeat. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, thoughts on the Evil Dead franchise, thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Barry, Andor, whatever. I truly don't care. Anything in the world that you feel like you want to talk about. watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com is the way to get in touch with us. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. And if Andrew is game and he's not too busy in Babyland, I think our next episode is we've got to get fast, but at the same time we have to also get furious. And Fast X.
It's out.
Vroom vroom. It's out. Came out this past weekend. I have seen it. I can tell you all about it, but I want to save my thoughts. I don't know when you're planning on seeing it, if you're planning on seeing it anytime soon. But if you do, I think that would be a fun one to cover.
Okay.
Definitely an interesting film. It's a fast and furious movie. If you go in expecting that, it's worth talking about.
Be all right.
It'll be all right. Yeah. So hopefully that's what we get to. But I think now is probably a good opportunity to lay down a disclaimer that when baby Bennett does arrive into this world, I think our general plans will get disrupted for at least a little bit of time until we can figure out how we're going to operate moving forward. So
it's true.
You gotta adjust and figure out how to live life as Papa Meadows while also being a host of a podcast. So we'll figure it out, as things develop. But even as much as I love doing this podcast, I guess I'll let Bennett take priority, if he needs that sort of attention.
Well,
so.
I don't see any reason why. We'll figure it out. We just have to figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I'm sure we have a way to make it work. It's just with the immediacy of it, I'm not going to say...
The first little bit's definitely the
You had
most
a kid born yesterday, so you want to record the next day, right? Like, that's probably not how it's going to go down, would be my guess. But we'll figure it out. We'll all kind of, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. That, the podcast doesn't end here. It's just, we'll have an adjustment period. Simple as that.
That's it.
Yep. Just, I mean, you've had a 8 months pregnant wife, that's an adjustment too. So, it is what it is. We do what we can. So, I think at this time, I will let Andrew take you all out.
Well, until next time, take care now. Bye-bye then.
Dead by dawn? No. Can't end it there. Later's on the Menche.